Hi guys, Kimberly of Five Oaks Homestead. Today we're going to be making blackberry jam for some Christmas presents and just to stock up the pantry. So let's get started. What I'm using is 10 pounds of frozen blackberries we got from Azure Standard. They are organic, non-GMO. So you can use frozen or fresh, but this is what I had on hand, so we're just going to go with the frozen. It calls for 1 to 2 cups of sugar. But since I'm doubling the recipe, I used 10 pounds of frozen blackberries. I'm going to start out with 2 pounds of sugar, and I can add more if need be later. It also calls for 1 to 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I will actually just use the amount of sugar and lemon juice as for a single batch and test it throughout the process. So I'm going to stir this up and let it sit here for a little while, and then I'll come back and show you the next step. Alright, so the recipe calls for 5 cups of frozen blackberries or fresh blackberries, but I'm using frozen. But I'm also using 10 pounds of frozen blackberries. It calls for 1 to 2 cups of sugar and 1 to 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I started out with 2 cups of sugar and 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I'm stirring this up, trying to cover or coat the blackberries with the sugar and lemon juice. And once I get it covered or coated, I'm going to let it sit for a little bit to absorb some of the sugar. This recipe, I'm not using pectin. We prefer not to use pectin here. So if you use enough sugar, the blackberries have enough natural pectin in them that you don't need to use pectin. So I've got them coated, and I'm just going to let them sit, and I'll come back to you. All right, now these blackberries have been sitting for a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on my burner to medium-low, or about medium heat, and get the process started. It's not necessary that you let them sit in the sugar. I just choose to let them sit for a little bit. And it'll take a little bit to get this going, and we'll bring you back throughout the process. Also, I'm going to go ahead and put a little plate and some spoons in the freezer so I can do my gel test when it gets near the end, so I know if it's gelled enough or if I need to continue to cook it a little longer. So I'll get this going, and we'll be back with you shortly. All right, I will say that it is a little more challenging with them being frozen to continue to stir them. You need to make sure that you have a large enough pot that you can maneuver them around and get them continuing to keep them off the bottom so they don't burn. You also don't want to keep your heat up too high because you don't want them to burn as well there either. So they're starting to get mushier, so it's easier to maneuver them around, but I'll continue to keep stirring them, and you will continue to stir throughout the process so they don't stick to the bottom. Because with this adding the sugar and then the blackberries being sugary as well, they will stick. So this is what they look like so far, and we'll show you All right, these blackberries have been boiling for a little bit, or not boiling, but in the pot for a little bit, and they've started foaming up some. But before I continue on, I'm going to go ahead and take my food meal and then get the seeds out of it. So you'll just need a large bowl to put the food meal on top of. I'm using my fine grater, and then you put it, it looks like upside down with the dome up, and then attach it to the bowl. And then there's some hooks inside of it that you're going to hook each side of it to. And then you just do it in a circular motion. You go forward and backwards. So we'll get started on that. All right, these blackberries have been in the pot for a little while, so I'm going to go ahead and take my immersion blender and start blending them up. All right. There'll still be some chunks in there, but it just won't be as big of chunks. So get that going. Run this over to the sink real quick. Now I'm going to dip some out in my cup and pour it over into my food meal, just so I can get the seeds out. It's your preference whether you want the seeds in or out, but there are quite a few seeds in this, and it makes it a little more difficult for us to eat it with the seeds in, so we prefer to take the seeds out. I'm going to go forwards and backwards. And I'll continue doing this, and then I'll show you the next step. All right, we've wrapped up the food meal, and this is what's left. I don't know if you can see, but that's just all seeds. And I will put that right here to rest, and then get the blackberry jam back in the bowl. It doesn't get those seeds out 100%, but it gets the majority of them out. So we like it with the least seeds as possible. So, but like I said earlier, it's your choice whether you want to leave the seeds in or out. All right, I've got that back in the bowl or the pot. Turn my pot back on, and we'll continue to cook, and we'll give it a little taste test in a little bit just to see if it has enough sugar and lemon juice. We prefer the least amount of sugar because fruit is a natural sugar, but obviously you need a little bit to form that gel. So it is a natural gel. It's without pectin. All right, we'll come back to you shortly. All right, we're back, and it's foaming up real good. That's the blackberry releasing its natural form of pectin, and we're going to give it a test to see if it's ready to Okay, so it's not really closing back up, so it's pretty much ready. I'm going to give it a few more minutes, and then I'm going to start jarring it up, and we'll take you along on that process as well. So we'll be right back. All right, guys, I have pulled everything off the stove and let it been sitting for a few minutes, and we're going to go ahead and start filling our jars up. So come along with us. I'm going to pour these in. I have 12 half-pint wide mouth jars that I'm going to be filling up. Also, I did put these jars in some hot water, so I'm not putting hot contents in cold jars for the in case they break. So they are warm, and the jam is still warm. All right, I'm going to go ahead and finish filling these up, and I'll be right back with y'all. All right, we ended up with 18 half-pint jars of blackberry jam. It is still liquidy, but as it cools down, it will harden. I'm going to go ahead and wipe the rims with some white distilled vinegar to clean off any residue that may be on the rims, and put the lids on top to get ready for their water bath. All right, and we'll be right back. All right, we got them cleaned up, and now we're going to get lids on them and rings. You're just going to finger tighten it. You're not going to tighten down hard at all. There we go. And I'm also going to set them down in my water bath canner. Alright, I'm going to finish getting these rings on and putting them in the water bath. Once it comes to a rolling boil, we'll keep it in there for 10 minutes and then pull out. And then we'll put labels on them and that'll be it. We'll be back. All right, guys, I have finished up the jars of the Blackberry Jam. There's 18 of them that were in total. Pretty much all of them have set. There's still a few more that still need to set. Once they have completely cooled, I will wipe them down again and put labels on them. So once again, we appreciate you. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.